Hello, little witchlings and princelings, and welcome to your weekly Coven Summoning. My name is Ilsa.
And my name is Stacy.
And we're Caffeine and Conjuring,
a fantasy bookish podcast where we will discuss some of our favorite fantasy reads.
Welcome back. Did you have a good nap? Because you're going to be ready for another one. Before we get into anything, if you haven't already, make sure that you've read up to Chapter 31 of Tower of Dawn and Chapter 30 of Empire of Storms. And good luck to you, if you haven't.
May the odds be ever in your favor.
You know it's bad when you're such a Chaol hater, but you're reading Tower of Dawn, and you just want to get back to Chaol, because it's better than what Nesrin's doing. Like, take me back to Chaol.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but I don't really care what's happening with Nesrin's side of the story.
Yeah. We ended off last episode, Nesrin sent Chaol a letter saying that she was going for weeks with Sartak, and they just take off into the night.
Basically the equivalent of our texting a breakup.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically. Like, can you imagine if that letter never got to him and she just disappeared?
The disrespect.
Ugh.
Palpable.
Anyways, we are starting off a little bit exciting because we are in Empire of Storms for the first few chapters. Starting off with chapter 27, and we're with Thorian and Rowan, and they are walking into Rolf's office thinking they're the ones delivering news, but instead, our girl, Aelin, is already there and taking the room like she owns it. She lounges in his chair, toys with his emeralds like they're copper pennies, and derails every threat with equal parts sass and steel. Dorian's pulse is doing cartwheels in his throat. Rowan is a statue of warning beside him, and Rolf goes from bluster to barely contained fury as Aelin proceeds to inspect his ledgers and his honor. I love her so much.
Mm-hmm.
The chess play here is tidy. Aelin asks straight up whether Rolf has trafficked or harbored slaves. He hedges, then admits he hasn't gone out of his way. She's already checked his warehouses. She calls him on the cost of her stunt, which was wrecking his town, stealing ships, and he makes the blunt mercenary offer. Kill her and his ships and men will join the war. Aelin's response? Smile, challenge, and refusal that makes the threat look ridiculous. She is not the sort to be bought or bluffed. And he doesn't realize that she's Aelin at this point, right? Like, she is just Selena to him?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She's just Selena to him right now.
Yeah. That which makes everything just so much better.
Yeah.
So then she flips the table theatrically. Lysandra, who's been low-key in the room, becomes the smoking gun. Love this part so much. She shapeshifts as Aelin to prove that the woman in Rolf's chair really is the queen assassin he's been warned about. It's theatrics with a purpose. Aelin stealing the emeralds, the twin Aelin trick, the shapeshift reveal, all designed to strip Rolf of leverage and put him in the position of having to recognize who he's actually dealing with. The chapter ends with the power balance reset. Rolf exposed, Aelin unabashed and in command, and the room suddenly full of people who have to reckon with the fact that she's clever, dangerous, and already 5 steps ahead. It's showmanship used as strategy, equal parts performance, art, and hard negotiation. And it leaves you grinning because she makes domination look effortless.
She's so good at that.
Yeah.
And she really is always, 5 steps ahead of everybody. Empire of Storms, Chapter 28. Rowan slides in beside Aelin with a battlefield whisper. The cadre's only playing nice because Maeve sent them to kill Lorcan. Arlen's fleet is parked in the Gulf of Oro, and Maeve's armada is sailing toward Eelway. For war or aid, who knows? Then he drops the real line. He missed her. And Aelin just kisses him in front of everybody because subtly is for people without fire in their veins. At the table, it's Aelin versus Rolf round 2. She needles him, he growls back, and the negotiation dance starts. She puts down Murtaugh's letter and makes the pitch. Help us win, and I crown you not Pirate Lord, but Pirate King. Turn the Dead Islands from a hideout into a kingdom. Rolf just dumps the letter in the trash. Dorian backs her play with actual crowns and borders talk. Rolf calls them dreamers and says the world is saved by blood, not ideals. Aelin fires back with the vision. Free world, pick your place in it. He counters with a smirk about marrying her for power. She and Rowan go glacier cold. He tries to pivot to Dorian's letter, and Aelin casually exposes the whole sting. There was no intel, just proof that Rolf's spies can fetch when tossed a bone. Rolf kicks them out, gives them 2 days to leave the island, and dismisses the menagerie. In the hall, we have a new problem. Gavriel wants to see his son right away. Aelin stonewalls to buy Adian time, and Lysandra quietly vanishes out a window to whisk the general away. Aelin gives Gavriel just a flat, don't ever give me orders, then heads for the Ocean Rose where Adian and Lysandra reappear, safe and waiting. But we get a softer beat in the courtyard. Aelin apologizes to Dorian about Rifthold. He thanks her for the rescue, and she teases Rowan from the balcony like they're back to that dry, familiar rhythm. Upstairs, they finally trade hard facts. Witches took the city fast. Formations, armor, numbers. Adian wants everything to feed the Bane. They float the big what if. Could Manon turn? If she fractures the Iron Teeth, it could split the Legion from within. Dorian pushes the deeper question. What do the witches actually want, besides heads on spikes? Then Aelin lays down the Ilium thread. Find the lock. Brandon's command, Rolf's map, Maeve's fleet on one side of Eelway and Morath's on the other. The clock is screaming. There isn't enough time. There never is. So she breaks it into bites. Secure Rolf, test the damn map, hunt the lock, keep the witches breathing long enough to get answers. It's a perfect Aelin chapter pivot. Kiss the prince, bait the pirate, shield the general, brief the king, and end with a to-do list for the apocalypse.
And we're not slowing down, because right into chapter 29, we get Adian and Lysandra, and they're playing our 2 best decoys, wedged in a dead-end alley, playing at a customer and courtesan. They're running a honey trap, and the bait isn't her smile, it's the amulet of Orinth, tucked against her skin. The hope is that Rolf's living map will clock the shiny, he'll send someone to snatch it, and boom. Proof the map works, and maybe a way to leverage him. Except the minutes stretch, Lysandra is in human glam and visibly tired, every big shift exacts a price. And Adian is, well, Adian. Protective, restless, not sold on the plan. He keeps sneaking glances at the amulet, and yeah, at her, and she clocks both. Their banter is prickly but warm underneath, and these 2 spark even when they're arguing about logistics. Then, footsteps. Enter Dorian, hood up, checking in as the customer who changed his mind. It's awkward. Adian still sees the boy king who once laughed at parties and later stabbed Aelin while enslaved by a Valk prince. Lysandra sees a survivor. She calls Adian on it hard. Compassion isn't weakness. He was violated, lands heavy, and it shakes him. He doesn't get all the way to forgiveness, but he promises to try, and then she pushes. Try better. It's a tiny character pivot, and it matters. They also circle that other emotional landmine, Gavriel. Is Adian going to meet the father he's mythologized and resented in equal measure? He admits he doesn't even know what he wants. His life's been one long assignment, and asks Lysandra to come with him in the morning. She steadies him in a way that's new for both of them. You can feel a gentler current under the snark. Back to the sting, they finally get a nibble from Rolf's barmaid. She clocks their act, flushes, calls it a wrong turn, and peels off. Not exactly Master Thief energy, which is why Adian's instincts ping. Maybe she's just a scout, another pair of eyes in Rolf's net. And maybe she wasn't after the amulet at all. That last thought hangs between them as they melt out of the alley, plan intact, nerves frayed, and head for the Ocean Rose, still waiting for the map to blink, still holding their breath for morning and a father-son meeting that's been 20 years in the making.
It's also something to note, too, that the both of them really weren't pleased about them having to take on these roles for this, like, little experiment that they were doing, because they both have a history of basically being a victim, poured out, basically. Yeah. So that kind of sucked, really. And now we are back to Tower of Dawn, chapter 25. We aren't even in like the parts that I'm dreading for this episode.
Literally, those last 4 Tower of Dawn chapters are the absolute fucking worst.
Yeah,
they were a nightmare. And I just realized now as I'm opening the Kindle app to see what I had highlighted.
It's so bright.
Just the light. Look at the light. I did not read up to and including chapter 31. I read up to. So chapter 31 is going to be notes. So I missed a chapter for today, and I still felt like it took years.
I had to resort to the audiobook for the last bit of these chapters because I was just struggling to keep my brain reading the words that were on the page. Anyways, we're not at that part yet. We're still back with Chaol and Irene, and they're beelining for the Torre after lunch, and there's this tiny human-scale triumph tucked into the scene. Chaol mounts up smoother than yesterday, trades an actual smile with Shen, and Irene has to swallow the urge to glow about it. Inside the Torre, the whole place works like balm on her nervous system. Lemons, lavender, sun-warmed stone, the "you're safe, you're home" energy she felt the day she first saw that pale tower on the horizon. The library itself is a character. Ramps instead of stairs, librarians with carts, healers in study nooks, bass cats pretending to nap, but definitely eavesdropping. Irene does one very loaded thing. She pushes Chaol's chair over a small obstacle. He notices, because of course he does, but it's the first time she's physically moved him, and it lands. They're here for the Eelway texts and scrolls that Nusha flagged, and in between acolytes giggling at Chaol's crooked smile and Irene making him do another round of foot and ankle exercises. Progress update, his entire foot below the ankle is waking up. We meet 2 truths. 1, Nusha is delightfully cranky. 2, the Torre's roots run deep, 1,500 years deep, built in one sweep by an ancient queen to honor a healer who saved her child. It predates the Khaganate and survived conqueror after conqueror because everyone needs healers. A tower full of women who can keep you from dying is more valuable than gold. Which is the perfect on-ramp to the hard conversation. Irene asks the obvious. If healers are that vital, why did Ardalan's king wipe magic off the map? So Chaol shares the secret history he's been carrying. The man beneath the thing wearing the crown was possessed, and lucid enough in flashes to understand that the Valg prize gifted bodies. So he damned magic and hunted the gift to deny the enemy hosts. It's monstrous and, in his twisted calculus, protective. Yeah, Irene's stomach drops. Her mother's death sits in that math. But Chaol pushes one layer further. Maybe healers aren't harmless to the Valg. Maybe they're exactly the thing the enemy wants to control or silence. He promises, very simply, not to let harm come to her. They get back to work, palms steadying on the practical, hide the word marks, pull every relevant book, and yes, crack a joke about finding a volume for Chaol's chronic toe fungus. It cuts the tension, he laughs with his eyes, and we remember why these two are easing toward each other in the first place. And then we cut over to Nesrin and Sartak. They set down on a wind-scoured ledge in the Asimil Mountains after hours of flying. Is bone-deep chilly, bladder urgently real, and very unglam. Sartak is quietly competent, points her to privacy, keeps Kadara's saddle on, we leave fast if we must, lays out food, reads her mind about wyverns. They talk size. Kadara's maybe half to 2/3 of wyvern and dangerous. There's no fire. It's a beacon. Then the conversation opens up. Titles and tales. Yes, he's heard the winged prince stories. Yes, he has spies. Yes, he knows exactly who Adian is. And to Nesrin's surprise, he's heard about her. The rooftop shot that saved a shifter's life. He calls her what his spies call her. Neith's arrow. And the name lands like a small crown she never asked for. They eat bread and cured meat under a sky her father once knew. The constellation's different from the north, but ancient to her people. The wind howls, Kadara snores loudly, and neither of them rushes the moment. It's not fireworks, it's warmth, respect, a shared gaze at the same horizon.
So right into chapter 26, Chaol is forcibly loved by a Tory cook with enough food to stun an army, and then gets tucked into a simple ground floor room. It's cozy, unguarded. He even jokes about aim with the chamber pot, and he thanks Irene in a way that lands. The next morning, Eurytia escorts him to the palace, where Chaol clocks something he missed. Shen's forearm is crafted metal. Shen's matter-of-fact grace about loss and about how Irene helped him heal hits Chaol hard. Then the floor drops out. He finds Nesrin's note. She's flown off with Sartak to the Rukin. No drama, just a clear line in ink. Chaol folds both letters into his fists and realizes he's been leaning on her in a way he shouldn't. When Irene arrives later, practically skipping from a glowing report with Hafiza, Chaol is not okay. He channels it into a brutal workout, the old refuge of sweat and silence. Irene pushes, professionally at first, then pointedly, naming exactly what he's doing, trying to outrun feelings he can't fix with a sword. He stonewalls, she holds the line, it gets sharp. When she moves to continue therapy, he shuts it down. She leaves in a tight swirl of healer's dignity and a promise to send protein. On her way to vent with Hazar, Irene learns the truth. Nesrin left yesterday with Sartak. Suddenly, Chaol's mood makes awful sense. Irene chooses not to pick at that scab tonight. Instead, with her magic humming and nowhere to put it, she does what she's always done when the world tilts. She walks into the slums and follows the sound of coughing because someone out there needs a healer, and that at least she can fix.
Chapter 27 of Tower of Dawn. Irene spends the whole evening doing the work that makes her who she is. 6 healings in the slums, from a shattered leg to feverish kids to a woman whose lungs were failing. The one that lingers is a bruised 16-year-old. Irene quietly mends the damage but leaves the bruises color so the girl can go home without raising worse trouble. And she gives her the Tory's door as a standing refuge. It's compassionate, surgical, and tactical all at once. But even drained, Irene's got this restless hum under her skin, the Chaol situation, the earlier fight. So instead of going home, she veers toward the palace. She stalls, lamb, cave, honey pastry, as one does, then storms in to tell him off. That's when the mood flips. She hears steps behind her. The hair on neck kind. Her instincts, her mother's voice really, say run. She bolts for Chaol's door, barely gets inside, double locks it as something slams the other side. I was getting the heebie-jeebies at this chapter. It was...
Yeah.
I thought it was done so well. So from this point, there's a 2-person siege. Chaol's instantly tactically barricades, sight lines, which door is weakest, where to stand. He hands Irene a dagger, adjusts her grip, and key moment anchors her with, "We face this together." The thing outside starts whispering her name in that not quite human voice. Valg vibes. Banging the door like it owns the night. Irene's shaking until she isn't. She steadies. She's crossed mountains before. She can cross this. They brace for the breach, and then palace guards arrive, called by a servant who spotted the busted outer door. The intruder's gone, but the takeaway's clear. Someone or something is hunting Irene, and in the space of a heartbeat, her and Chaol's dynamic hardens into a true partnership. Equal parts steel and steadying hand. Yeah, that chapter, like, I thought that was that one and the chapter where she was in the library by herself. Those two chapters, like, I thought she did really good with writing those to make you, like, just, like, your hair is standing on end. It was just so creepy.
So Tower of Dawn, chapter 28. So after the midnight scare, Irene has the guards call in Prince Cassian fast. He gets the stakes immediately, locks the palace down like a drum, and offers to escort her back to the Torre. But Irene, she says she feels safer here, with Chaol. Yeah. Which lands hard. Cassian leaves a wall of steel outside the suite, and we shift into the intimate, breath-held calm. Irene asks the question no one likes to answer. What's it like to kill? Chaol admits he's trained for it forever, but only crossed that line recently. Valg. Humans twisted by demons, the murky mercy calls. He hopes she never has to wield that dagger, and she quietly thanks him for being willing to carry that burden for her. They also acknowledge the Nesrin news. She's flown off with Sartak on his magical rook.
I can show you the world.
And Chaol, heavy with guilt, calls it the adventure she deserved. Irene counters that he deserves more than nothing. She drifts asleep in his bed. He keeps watch at the doors. At dawn, Chaol moves. He warns the hallway guards, touch a hair on Irene's head and there'll be bones to count. And then rolls himself into the training yard. There, a veteran trainer named Hashim puts him through absolute hell, adapting every drill for the chair and beyond. No pity from the guards, just respect. Shen's prosthetic arm and quiet strength have already set the tone. Chaol finds a new vocabulary for fighting. Angles, leverage, blade work, then heads back for a marathon healing session. 6 hours later, he's wrecked. Irene's shaking, but the tide has shifted, feeling creeping up from his feet past the ankles and the numbness receding. That becomes the rhythm. Heavy guard for Irene, brutal dawns with Hashim, deep dives into the darkness with Irene. Little by little, body and nerve wake up, 1 inch, 1 breath, 1 choice at a time.
And then that is where we say goodbye to Chaol and Irene for a while.
Yep. As I said before, I would have been like, yay, but no.
No, it just got worse. But first, we have Empire of Storms, Chapter 30. And we are back with Elite and Lorcan. They have been slogging with the traveling caravan for 2 muddy, miserable weeks, and she is sick of answering to her mother's name, Marion. The cover works, but it means constant questions from the caravan's money keeper, Umbriel, and a whole lot of dish duty. Silver lining, the sleeping arrangements keep Lorcan on the ground most nights. Distance is easy that way, and their newlyweds act is almost an excuse to sneak off and trade intel. I do like how in this, she has to, like, consciously listen for the name Marion. Because, like, she's afraid that, like, she's going to, like, not react to it or whatever. That is exhausting.
Yeah.
But anyways, out in a windy field, Alid keeps feeding Lorcan everything she knows about Morath, level by level, until he asks about the dungeons. And that's where she balks. He pushes, she stonewalls, the power thrumming in her pocket. Yep, that secret stone has him instantly on alert. And when he casually drops that Selena Sardothian and Aelin are in the same orbit, she clocks it. Lorcan knows the queen. He wants info for a reason. Back at the camp, the troop sets up a tent just for the happy couple. And Alid flips into performance mode, flirt here, blush there, to keep suspicions off them. Inside the tiny tent, their dynamic softens. Lorcan offers hot water and clean clothes. He even washes them himself. Standing watch while she bathes. He's manipulating, maybe, but he's also paying attention. Cue the one bed trope. Or one tent trope. But that opens the door. Over a quiet meal, Alid tells him the name that really matters. Vernon. Her uncle. Clever, cruel, and the reason she was taken to Morath, to be bred with Valg. She escaped, but others didn't. The catacombs explosion wasn't an accident, and the Ilkin are a different horror entirely. Those came from the mountains born of darker work. Lorcan, ever the blade in a velvet scowl, just asks if she wants Vernon dead. No cost, no strings. And it's chilling how easy that is for him. Between the lines, we're in Lorcan's head too. He's centuries of ruthless efficiency. His bitterness that love turned Rowan from perfect weapon into a protective mate. His cold math about Morath, Maeve, and what's coming if no one stops these monsters. He needs Alid's details to get in and out alive, and he knows it. The scene closes like a knife slipping into a sheath. Alid admits her ruined ankle isn't from the dungeon, it's from long before. There were chains, 2 pale bands still mark her skin, and when Lorcan asks what chain, she gives him the answer and the order in one breath. When you kill my uncle, ask him yourself. Ugh, I love her.
Yeah. I love the both of them.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna have a nap now.
Tower of Dawn, chapter 29. The beginning of our 3-chapter nap. Picture this like a travel diary with thunder as the soundtrack. Nesrin and Sartak get pinned to a cliff by a mountain squall. Kadara standing like the feathery bulwark while rain needles them numb. Nesrin, archer, pragmatist, very much not into magic, finds herself wishing for a little fire in the veins, or a certain fire-wielding queen. When the storm limps off, they drop from the Asmil peaks and skim the grasslands, cold, hungry, and tactfully aware that they're still strangers sharing a saddle. On the wing, Sartak sketches the lay of the land, the Dargan horse lords to the east, the Rukin's old kinship with them, and the Empire's loyalty or else peacekeeping. Nesra encounters with her own truth. In Ardalan, men got the promotions, and she learned to help quietly from the margins. It's flirty in the margins, too. Just call me Sartak turns into Captain Suits Me Fine. But beneath the banter is real respect. Then the reveal. The Eredun Eyrie. 3 colossal peaks carved with homes and halls, rope ladders, and cave mouth verandas where rooks can land at a heartbeat's call. They set down the Alton, Sartak's hearth hall pillars painted bright, a sunken fire like a little amphitheater, and meet Borte, his razor-tongued hearth sister, who tests Nesrin with jokes about silk slippers and brides before warming to her quick wit. There's also Falcon Enar, a northern merchant parked by the brazier with more secrets than wares and ears sharp enough to catch Captain of Ardalan. Borte whisked Nesrin to a snug room in copper tub, kettle by kettle, luxury by altitude standards. Lends her fleece-lined boots and embroidered layers, and, with a soft smile, says the words that stick. Welcome home. By dinner, Nesrin's thawed and fed, Sartak's easy laugh finally shows up, and we learn Hulan, the formidable hearth mother they came to see, is off following her Sulde wherever the wind points. She'll be back soon. In the meantime, a tour of the area, a little archery, friendly fire, in the sense that Nethrin isn't just visiting, she's being folded bit by bit into a Skyborn family.
And then chapter 30 of Tower of Dawn, Nesrin barely sleeps, hears movement, and finds Sartak already up. So she hops on Kadara at dawn. They cut through icy wind while Kadara snatches breakfast salmon from a turquoise river, then glide over the novices' training run. Sartak explains how Ruck Riders start on gentle elders at 4 years old. They raise their own hatchlings by 13 and, like the horse clans, grow up in the saddle. He gives her a proud, quick history tour of the Khaganate, crossing the Xoltum Desert with nomad guides, using speed and fear as weapons, rewarding surrender, and avoiding dumb, bloody wars. It's also a quiet reality check about Ardalin's very different, uglier approach. And about Erwan's long game. Nesrin wonders what the demon actually wants. Sartak suspects destruction is its own motive. Back at Eredun, he shows her the carved into the mountain city, and finally the rooftop training rings on Rokal. The view is savage and beautiful, with Arundin, the silent burial mountain, watching over them. Then it's bows out. Borte ribs Sartak. Nesrin steps up and calmly stacks 9 arrows, heart, neck, head, perfectly aligned across 3 targets, even in the screaming wind. Cue instant respect and impromptu clinic as she teaches riders how she reads weight and wind. A runner interrupts. Hulan, Sartak's formidable hearth mother, is back. In the great hall, Hulan greets Sartak and sizes up Nesrin with that steel and warmth vibe. The merchant Falcon is here too, and Hulan cuts to it. Something old and ugly is prowling the mountains. Ruck nests have been raided, eggs and hatchlings are vanishing. Not poachers, it's worse. Her word for them is Karanki. Falcon supplies a northern name that makes everyone go still. Stygian spiders. I thought we
If
were
you
done
don't
with them.
remember, they're the spiders that were mentioned earlier in the series that are the size of horses that live in the mountains. Ugh.
No thanks. No thanks.
So, something I'm realizing as we're reading these notes, the notes actually seem interesting. Like, if I hadn't read the book and I was listening to this, I'd be like, yeah, I want to read this. But then you go to actually read it, and there's so much filler in Tower of Dawn. Like, she wanted to make a book that was equal size to Empire Storms, and it didn't need to happen.
Yeah.
She could have took out the filler out of both of them and just made it all one book. I get there's
100%.
a lot of POVs, but, like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
It would have been better.
There is way too much filler. Completely agree.
Yeah.
Like, this book could have been the size of, like, Throne of Glass.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah. And honestly, Empire Storms is the same, because there is a lot of filler in that one, too.
Yeah.
Not as much, but...
Like, do authors know that your books don't have to keep getting bigger the further into the series you go?
Like, we're gonna buy it anyways.
Yeah.
Maybe, because I didn't read them, like, as they were coming out, so maybe it was, like, longer in between releases, so she just added more, so we felt like you were getting more.
Maybe.
Because that's what I feel like she did with Crescent City 3, but that's a topic for another day. I seen that you finished it.
I still 5-starred it.
And I was like, oh, we need to talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh, rest in peace to the personality of Bryce Quinlan that we all loved from the first book.
Oh, I know.
Anyways, that's for a future episode when we start talking about all the series together.
Oh, I'm so excited.
For now, our last chapter of the evening, and it's Tower of Dawn, chapter 31. And we're still with Nesrin, and she doubts Hulan's warning about Stygian spiders. until the visiting merchant, Falcon, casually pulls out a square of shimmering spider silk. He admits he got 100 yards of it in the north by trading 20 years of his prime. Sound familiar?
I wonder who this is.
Yeah. Not like he hasn't been brought up for the exact same thing twice before.
Yeah.
Now he's here, hoping to learn how to kill the spider that ate those ears and win them back. Hulan isn't focused on his bargain. She is furious because Rook nests have been raided. No poachers, no tracks, just missing eggs and hatchlings, and web-choked passes in the southern Dago Fells. Her conclusion, the Karenkui, what they call the Stygian spiders, are stirring again. She orders Sartak to keep it quiet, watch the nests, and when the thieves strike next, track them and make the message very clear. Falcon will go along to seek his answers. As the storm slams the area, Hulan, who's also the clan's storykeeper, lays out the deeper history by the fire. Long ago, a brief tear in the world opened up these very mountains. Valgor slipped through, most later drifted north, but the spiders stayed, learning human tongues and haunting the fells. The Fae eventually came, taught the Rooks to fight, and build warded watchtowers across the range. Those towers are mostly ruins now and trapped, but one still stands a half-day's flight away. Sartak wants anything that might help against Erewhon. Nesra knows a critical secret, but won't speak it aloud. If Morath hears even a whisper, hope dies. So Hulan gives them the next best move, go to that old Fae watchtower and seek what knowledge remains. Maybe there's a weakness, maybe there won't. Either way, don't linger after dark.
No, ma'am.
Yeah, no, I'd rather Erewhon than Stygian Spider. Any day. Yep. Like, it's either I'm gonna die quickly from Erewhon or I'm gonna die of a heart attack seeing a horse-sized spider. Yeah. That's why I would pick seeing a bear in person over a spider. I would have more luck getting away from the bear than having the heart attack from a giant spider.
Yeah. Ugh. The size of horses? There's no need to write that.
Like, horses are 1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Why the fuck are we making 1,000-pound spiders? Oh, God. The nightmares.
Oh, God. Every time anything, like, is brought up about spiders in books, all I can think about is poor Ron. Spiders.
See, I can't even claim to be like Ron, because he has more bravery than me, because I would... The second I seen Aragog.
Yeah, Aragog.
Aragog?
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say Aragorn, I'm like, nope. Different nerd thing.
Very different.
Yeah, the second Aragog entered the picture, I'm gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Running so fast out of the... Follow the spiders! I don't fucking think so.
Why couldn't it be follow the butterflies? Ugh.
Give me the basilisk in the Chamber of Secrets over Aragog.
Yeah.
100%. Walking down there and like you're in the bottom of the cave and hundreds of giant spiders are just like coming down the wet. Nope. Give me the deadly basilisk in the Chamber of Secrets and Tom Riddle any given day.
Just off me now. Write me out of the story. I'm done.
Yeah. Put me in the middle of Manon and Grandma Blackbeak. Like, anything sounds better.
Oh, God.
Handcuff me to Chaol on one side and Tamlin on the other. And lock me in a chamber forever. Because that's more appealing than the spider.
Oh, that's brutal.
I mean, Tamlin would get his way. I'd be locked up forever.
Yep.
Well, I managed to hop into both other mass universes in this episode.
Wow, look at us.
Takes zero effort.
Yeah. It's literally plays as a montage in my head 24/7, so.
Yeah. Yep.
I thought this was a great section of chapters right up until I saw that, like, was it part 2 or part 3?
Part 2.
Yeah, when it switched over to Nestrin's point of view, and I was just like, oh, this is going to be fun. Holy shit, did I eat my words? It was not fun. I thought it was going to be, like, this epic change of pace. But then I remembered, like, I'm just pissed off at Nestrin anyways, because of the way that she handled leaving. And, like, God, there was just so much that was not needed here. Could have been completely condensed.
Yep.
But I'm really sorry if these happen to be somebody's favorite chapters. We're just ripping it apart.
Everyone's entitled to their opinion.
We just have very loud opinions.
So, if you happen to follow us on Instagram, you would have seen that yesterday we posted what our next side quest is going to be. And I'm so excited.
It's so
Drum
good.
roll. From Blood and Ash.
Ah!
Oh, Castile Denier, my heart.
Oh, I'm so excited to talk about it.
Yeah. I can't wait to get my book back and see all the stuff that you wrote in it. That's exciting. So that will air on the 1st. I can't wait to talk about it and find out why someone only gave it 4 stars. But it's okay. Everyone has an opinion.
Yeah.
And another exciting thing is that we are officially 50% through the tandem read as of today.
Yes. I did not notice that because I switched over to the audio.
Now, the beginning of 31 for Empire of Storms is 50%.
50%.
So we are there. We are halfway. So we technically read one of the books.
That feels good. I mean, not that I am super excited to be close to the end.
Well, I don't have anything else to say about our chapters tonight without spoiling anything.
Nope.
So, until next week, and make sure that you've read up to and including Chapter 36 of Empire of Storms and Chapter 35 of Tower of Dawn.
And with that, our Coven summoning comes to a close. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
And follow Caffeine and Conjuring on Instagram and TikTok to stay up to date on our journey through Throne of Glass.